But don't pull out your hair. All right.
Oh, would you like a soft bit?
So these kinds of conversations, as I said, are really useful for even simply identifying what it is that you don't know, because then you go, oh, I don't know that, don't know how to determine that. But then also finding out what other people know. So it's really very, very useful. Now, I assume that you all had some criteria that you used, that you applied to determine whether something looked easy or not easy. Yes? Did anybody not have any idea what easy looked like? So you all had some idea. So then the process is to become really confident and elaborate upon it. Because one of the things that you are looking for when you're watching people doing awareness through movement is you're looking to see whether they're in quality, so to speak, whether they're in the quality of the motion. And that is recognizable. So as I was wandering around, I heard the term smoothness. I heard other terms as well. So quality is observable because the bodies that are generating that quality are physical beings. And physical beings have to move in a certain way to generate those qualities. So when you read in the Awareness Through Movement book, and he starts to talk about lightness. Light movements are good. Do you remember reading that? Light movements are good? You're looking at someone move on the floor, it's like, is that light or isn't that light? So for Feldenkrais being an engineer, of course, he's going to draw on his knowledge of physics, mechanics to make an explanation, and anatomy to make an explanation of what a light movement is. And of course, for Feldenkrais, a light movement is a movement where every limb is being moved by a part of the musculature that's designed to move that part. So large muscles move large parts, smaller muscles move smaller parts, and if a large muscle moves a little part, oh, it's going to be very light. However, if a little muscle tries to move a heavy part, it's not going to be, first of all, you're not going to feel it as being light, and second of all, I reckon it's going to be observable. So there are these visual things that we see that are really based on organizational aspects of our anatomy and our functioning. But generally, people don't observe it like that. But if you can bring it back to those principles, it's observable. Think about smoothness. So what is it about smoothness that makes for ease? Well, it's in terms of recruitment of musculature. If muscles are recruiting at the right timing, you don't get this little if there's not over-contracture, then you don't get this sudden jumping from one, one motor unit to another motor unit. You don't get, you just get, yeah? So these are observable things, and they're based on physiology, they're based on mechanics. And as you go on through next year, these will become even clearer and clearer and clearer and more elaborated. So this is just like a beginning process. Yeah. And some people said breathing. Yeah. No one said smiling. Did anybody pick up smiling? Did anybody pick up facial expression? Oh, they just look so happy. Uh-huh. So emotions, yes, please.
Emotions with that. I just remember reading diverting my attention like that. Sorry. With the emotions, I just remember maybe ease would be also when you can divert your, like do something and still have your attention available to
Yes.
to distribute somewhere else, not just be limited to just focusing everything on doing this one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I created a scenario where this mat was floating on water, which complicates the task no end, because you have to now stay lying on your side and circle your arm and somehow stay balanced. Now, if you're able to do that and it still looks like you're in there and it's like, it's just going, then that would be a different, it's easy, but that would be then an expression of your whole system's ability to adapt to new situations. So ease now applies to being able to adapt to situations. Yeah. Now that happens in awareness through movement, except I'd like to do that lesson floating on water. It'd be really fun. Yeah, we don't have enough fun. Anyway, so you do that by just simply changing positions. Suddenly you can, well, guess what you're going to do next? So suddenly, okay, so this arm is going around nicely and it's free in the air. But what happens, instead of circling the upper arm, you circle the arm that's against the floor. That was a beautiful expression. It's like, you mean what? Yeah, so you see, that's the cleverness of any good coach or any good teacher or any good clinician or whatever. Okay, so now you can do that. What's the next step to spread the ease? So you can spread the ease into different scenarios, because it's one thing just, okay, I can do that. Notice how for some of you it becomes so much easier to do when you were standing. Maybe for some of you that would have been the place to start with. Yeah. Knowing where to start, how to start. So changing the scenario, which means changing either the body positioning or the orientation of the body to the floor. Very manipulable components. Yep. It might affect someone's ease dramatically, but then they get another opportunity to practice looking for ease. Some people need a lot of practice to look for ease, because a lot of people have been trained not to look for ease. They've been trained to look for difficulty, effort, so then they can really gauge that they're getting better. Yeah, oh yeah, feel that effort, must be getting better. So it's a cultural belief. So if you can orient people towards ease and then steer them with their attention and through the various movements that they do in a lesson, then of course it's a different experience to what they usually experience. It's a nice thing to feel. That's why the pinnacle of awareness through movement development is feeling totally aesthetically pleased with yourself. And aesthetics just means of the senses. That's all aesthetics means. It's come from the old Greek, of the senses. Go to the senses. So when you feel aesthetically pleased, inside yourself you just go, oh, that feels, oh, that could be better. Yeah, could be better. The ultimate. Yeah, that's the pinnacle. That's where you get to. And you sense it in yourself, and then of course if you recognize that in yourself, you start to be able to recognize it in others. Do you believe me?
Yes.
It's true. It's true. And there are some aspects that are unanalyzable. You can't reduce it down to something smaller. It's just something that you get a sense of, you just get a sense of it. Yeah? So some things are analyzable, and I believe that some things are not reducible. You just know it. So that's what the whole practice of awareness through movement is, to really get to know what ease feels like. Because when you really know it, someone starts to do it, you start to resonate with it. You go, you don't even know whether it's got to do with their breathing or their expression or whatever. You just go, yeah, they're in the zone. That's ease, yeah. Yo. Was that ease?
No, it's talking about. It just reminded me about the psychology of flow.
Yes.
As a musician, you go, I'm in the groove, I'm in the pocket. Where's Simon?
Yeah.
And the whole thing works together as a musician person in a group of people, and I think that ease is part of being in that zone. So that relates to it too.
Yep, absolutely. So at a sort of a thinking, cognitive, aesthetic level.
Sensory as well.
Yep. Although you watch some musicians, they're in the zone, and man, you want to give them a couple of lessons. So yeah, so it can apply across domains, right? There can be just sensory. Oh, I'm in that zone, but the way that it's manifesting, could be some tweaking going on. But that's a larger topic. All right. So it's now 2:45. Please have a short break and we'll come back and do that lesson, your expression. So we're right. But I promise you it won't be as torturous as you think it is. And because we'll do it over several goes. It won't be just once off. Okay?
Wait till we get to stand.